George, with your background, your father, Nick, is a TV host. Auntie is Rosemary Clooney, who was married to Jose Ferrer. I mean, show business must have been inevitable for you.
You mean that we're unemployable in anything else?
Yes. Well, that too, yes.
Part of it is true. I think I was always going to go into some form of this business. I thought I was going to be in broadcasting. I thought I'd be a television journalist of some sort or something but I wasn't really smart enough, and my father was really good at it, and I didn't, I couldn't really compete with him, so I figured I'd do something that would take very little intelligence. And I found it.
What is more important? Is it acting ability or the impression you make as you walk through that door?
Always the impression you make. There is a misconception that I think everyone has. I had when I moved to Los Angeles, which is talented people work and not talented people don't work. The truth of the matter is, anytime I walked in the door, there were 10 other actors there that would have done a better job than me. We're not selling acting ability when you walk in. You're selling confidence. That's what people are buying. You can feel them in the room. You walk in the room, there'll be 30 people sitting up against a wall, and they're there to make you a nervous wreck. And for the longest time, I would come in and I'd be like, oh God, I just want them to like me. Just don't hate me. And then eventually, you get it to the point where you go in and you go, I'm here to solve their problems. I'm not going to worry about whether they like me or not. I'm here to solve their problems. And you change the tone in the room, and suddenly when you walk in, you are confident, and you are selling them. You'll see it. Having now been on the other side when other people read, you can see it, you can feel it. You'll feel the best actor never get the job, ever, not once. I've never seen the best actor get the job. They'll come in and they'll go, hi, how you doing? Is it okay if I do this? And you'll see everybody sit there and go, God, that was a great job. And then you'll see some guy, not quite as good, come in and go, hi, how's it going? Am I reading with you? All right, great. Don't screw me up. I'm going to move this over here. And you'll feel everybody kind of sit up in their seat, And they're going to get the job. They're going to get the job. Part of it is also what actors never realize is most people, directors, producers, are looking for a very specific type. Yeah. They know what they're looking for. And you're not going to change their mind. If they want a blonde surfer type, even if I do a great interview, and you'll go home, you go, I changed their mind. They want some kind of, East Coast, dark-haired, graying kind of guy. But they don't. And that's you'll talk yourself into a lot of things as an actor.
And as you once said, I think you do have great TV hair, which is important.
You have to have, and as do you, I think, and I'm...
Oh, you're kind.
Yeah, no, really,
as nice as yours.
No, yours is very nice.
Is it true that you did 8 pilots for series that nobody wanted?
I did 15 pilots altogether.
Oh.
I guess about 6 or 7 of them got picked up, and I did them as series. But that's not even a bad record, really. Usually about 1 out of every 8 or 9 pilots will get picked up. So I was actually doing a little better than for a while. Every show I did got picked up, and then I went through a disastrous period.
Turn of the Killer Tomatoes.
Yes, well, actually, I figured that I shouldn't just corner the market on bad television.
You did some bad films.
I should do bad films as well. Yeah.
But I mean, in that film, you delivered the deathless line. That's the bravest thing I've ever seen a vegetable do. Now, when you got to that line in the script, did you not pause and think, is this really serious work for a grown man?
I was really proud of that line.
Well, it's memorable.
Oh, sure. Well, when you think about the kind of, I had just come off of a series called Baby Talk, where the baby talks. And I'd gone to The Return of the Killer Tomatoes, where the tomatoes talk. So I was working my way slowly down the scale to just amoebas or something. Return of the Killer Tomatoes.
All right. Let's find a way to get out of here, huh? Okay. Noise. Mice? Big mouse.
Chad?
Tara?
I thought you never wanted to see me again.
I thought you were ketchup.
And then suddenly ER happened. Now, how did that come about?
Well, I was, for the last few years, there's a funny thing is there's kind of a snobbery of actors. There's the theater actors look down on the film actors, and the film actors look down on the TV actors, and the TV actors look down on mass murderers or something. I'm not quite sure what it is. But I had, for the longest time, I would say, I'm a movie actor who happens to be doing a TV series. And after a while, I started to realize I was a television actor. That's what I did. I was very proud to be in television, and because that's where I made my living, and that's where work was very good for me. For feature films, I would have to go in and read for the casting director to get a job. But for television, I could go, I didn't have to test at the network. They would give me the jobs. So I decided if I'm going to do television and commit to it, then I should try and do better television. That was my theory.
Idea, yeah.
And so I thought, and then eventually maybe that'll give me a chance at films. I started doing better and better projects, and here at Warner Brothers. And the man who was the president of Warner Brothers at the time went to bat for me on this project, and I went into John Wells and to Michael Crichton and to Steven Spielberg, and I said, this is my job. Yeah. And I read for them, and I read about, they said, okay.
You think it was funny?
Sit down! I can't tell you how much fun Arnold Schwarzenegger was to work with. He was funny and nice and very gracious, much more gracious than you would think a star of his caliber would be, because he's such a big star. And sometimes there are competitive, things in the air. And that was never that way with Arnold. He was nothing but gracious and nice and helpful to me. So I was very lucky.
But you sound as if you're still a little overawed by movie stars.
Yeah, I still am.
Yeah.
I just met Clint Eastwood. He's on the lot here and walks around all the time. And it's funny, there is a difference between famous actors who I've met a lot of over the years and movie stars. And movie stars take your breath away when they walk. Clint Eastwood walks in the room and you go, whoa, it's Clint Eastwood. There is something, and there's no explaining it. And I'm in awe of that. I like where my career is at. I like what I do. When you think about it, I'm going to get a little bit of a run here. I'm going to get a chance at a film career. And as time goes on, you don't get to be in the public eye that much. People get sick of you. I get sick of me, and I like me. I'm one of my bigger fans, and I'm sick of me. So there's a period of time that you get, and then that's about it. And then you can have a couple of resurgence in your career. But for the most part, you really get a very kind of limited window. So my goal is to try and do as much work and try to do better work as you go. And for me to get better, too, I have a lot to learn.
Did you at any point, when all the good things started happening, because it's all happened in the last 3 years, basically.
Yes.
Was there at any point there when you thought, hey, why me? I mean, why didn't all this happen to some other fellow?
No, I always thought it should happen to me.
It's funny, Steven Spielberg said precisely the same thing when asked him the same question. Yeah.
No, it's true. I think that you can't go into this business not thinking that you, and I don't mean this in an egotistical way, because it's not thinking that you should, at some point, reach some level of success. I think that if you're an actor, for instance, every person who becomes an actor, they can talk about, I just want to do the work, but the truth is there is some need for attention, and there is some belief that if you just got the right part, or if you just, and there is, by the way, some truth to that, if, anyone role, and things, their lives turn around and change. Sure. And, so if you don't have that hope, then I don't think you're really going to last long in this business.
You don't sound as if you take it too seriously, which I think is good. I mean, seriously, but not solemnly.
If you at any point take this part of it seriously, take yourself seriously in it, then I think you're making a really big mistake, because, boy, it just goes away so quickly. It just, there was a show here called This Is Your Life with Ralph Edwards. And
yeah, we have...
You have the same thing. And they would always bring out, Buster Keaton, and he'd be sitting there, like this. And they'd go, Buster, you owned all the studios, everybody kissed your ass, the world was your oyster, and then tragedy struck, and he'd and he can't talk, and you realize, because every single star that comes out there owned the studios and was the hero, and now can't get a guest shot on Baywatch, and you realize that...
What a terrible thought.
But it's true.
Yeah.
So what you have to understand is it's not a question of whether or not that tragedy is going to strike. It is. It's how you handle it and if you're ready for it when it does. And that's all.